AC Shadow release date is being pushed back, as well as that Square Enix is deciding to cut tie with Sweet Baby Inc. What is going on? Is gaming industry healing? Hello there, how's it? I'm Ame Gakita there. So obviously today in the chat we are going to ask, is the gaming industry going to be on the right path to healing, or based on my speculation and experience, I highly doubt so. So obviously we are going to discuss about the issue on hand. Is the pushback of the release date for AC Shadow a good thing, or as well as that on the part that Square Enix decided to cut tie with Sweet Baby, is it considered that the gaming industry is on the path to healing? Like earlier I mentioned that I highly doubt so, but there is also a reason why we have to like go through every single thing, have a discussion, and then decide on the let you guys decide on the comment section to chat like, hey, is it really as what we think of, or they want us to believe it, or is it just kind of a rules to kind of like hype so that we guys will get kind of like Zoid along the line where we all just realize that DI never dies, because you can't spell die without DI apparently. So first thing first, apparently it's kind of like a funny thing, because based on the time of this recording, when I was like going to do this random chat recording, I was way on the mind that, hey, AC Shadow decided to cancel the Tokyo promotion at the Tokyo game at that time, which I kind of like understand from a lot of things, is that it's best they do that, because if they do release the game as a kind of like a demo on Japan itself, it's kind of like gonna look bad for them, because a lot of Japanese people will be even more aware that, hey, that's just basically having a black man going around killing Japanese people, which is just basically showing that, hey, Western people are very, very racist. So when you kind of like release that to the public, especially in Japan, yeah, that's not gonna be looking good for the gameplay as well. So it's actually kind of good that they kind of like do like say that, hey, let's cancel it. We don't want to let people realize it. And it's kind of funny that in my previous video, when I was talking about the Sweet Baby Inc. and Ubisoft, I actually mentioned that since the game is supposed to apparently set to be released on November itself, which is like 1 month and less, and if they decided to do a huge revamp or change a lot of stuff, it's gonna take a long while. It's gonna take it may not be in time on November. And the best way, if they really want to change the main character, like say that, hey, we are sorry, we're gonna change the main character along the line, if they're gonna do that, they need more time, at least from how I look at it. So my advice at the time was push back the date. So interestingly, they actually did so, and apparently it's been now so-called being released in 2025 February 14. So they are saying that, hey, your Valentine Day for gamers will be Assassin's Creed Shadow. I guess I will be getting a real chocolate and eat it for myself instead of buying that game at this point of time. Who knows? But personally, to me, maybe they released that day just thinking that, hey, gamers don't have Valentine Day along that line. But I mean, that is just my speculation. But the one thing is, what I want you guys to know is that the reason why I don't feel that the reason for the so-called cancellation on being put out on demo on Tokyo itself is that it kind of like having like 97% dislike, as well as that it seemingly became the most hated game ever, more so even by the Japanese. So when you think about it, right, when you're gonna release a game that is hated by the Japanese, which is a black man going around killing Japanese people, which I always been calling it the most racist game ever, yeah, I don't think it's actually the best way to actually even put that out. More so that imagine like people in Japan will be going up to say, hey, your game is the racist game. You are going around encouraging people to kill Japanese along the line. It's like, hey, if you think about it, right, Japanese killing Japanese, nothing wrong. American people killing American people, nothing wrong. But when a black kill a white, or a white kill a black, or a black kill a ASEAN, or a white kill a ASEAN, it became a whole new different problem, right? So the thing is, right, it won't even happen if they effing did not ask a quack historian about having a black samurai. I mean, like, it's really kind of like talk about. I actually talked about this in the random chat, link in the description below. That it may be just a fabrication. It may the Yasuke, the black samurai, is never existed because there is no evidence that show that he never no evidence to show that he never existed. It doesn't mean that he existed in the first place. It just means that there is no historical point to indicate his existence. And just because people using AI to go and create a black samurai, a photo of samurai, black samurai in Japan, yeah. Still, and it's kind of amazed me that how people actually believe the AI picture saying that, oh hey, it was taken in the last who know how long when ago. Yeah, camera invented at that point of time in the 16th century. You sure? I'm pretty sure America or somewhere actually invented camera in like the 18th century, not the 16th century. So where did that camera come from? So the thing is, right, it just showed how crazy people are to believe anything there is AI in this world. But when you think about it, right, just because a photo that is created by AI and just being put on people believe it is like, hey, is that really accuracy along the line? And it's actually more so when I even talk about the game is really, if they actually use the word, it is a fabrication, it is not historical accurate, the game is not supposed to be true, then the game won't even receive that much criticism. People will just make fun of it, people will just move on, maybe get the game and play it to see how good it is. But the moment you add historical accurate, yeah, there's a lot of things wrong at that point of time. So obviously the reason why I don't think that the pushback of the date is going to help, because even if people say that, hey, maybe they just going to improve on the game, maybe they just going to change, yeah, I don't think they're going to change the freaking main character, which is the black samurai. And I mean, like, if they're going to change it, it would be best if they change it at this point of time, because it's going to, and if they actually push the date to somewhere around May or June 2025, I think there's a possibility of the main character changing. But just because they push it back, what I personally feel is that they are just avoiding criticism at this point of time. Maybe they're just trying to, based on a lot of criticism about the stuff that kind of like got a lot of people talking about it, like hell, they even like using like so-called figurine or issue in the game, which is basically a lot of problem. There is a lot of like the armor itself, they kind of like, it's not supposed to be wear by the samurai, and they just say, oh, anyone can just wear the freaking samurai armor, or maybe anyone can just hold a freaking powerful weapon and just let them walk around along the line. It's like, dude, there is no historical accurate to a lot of stuff. So personally, they are just trying to avoid people, and maybe they want to change it. I mean, like, it's even funnier when they as Promo Ben actually highlighted, is that messing out the Chinese and the Japanese building along the line. So even if they do change the building, even if they do change the setting correctly, I highly doubt that they are going to change the main character. I highly doubt they're going to make any much different. It just maybe they're just trying to avoid people, to kind of like hoping people forget about it, kind of let it cool down a little bit and then release it. Hell, because if they can release in a freaking Valentine Day or Valentine Day, depending on how you pronounce it, yeah, those seems like they are trying to avoid a lot of criticism at this point of time. Personally, to me, I don't think they are going to change much. It's just that even if they release it, it's still gonna receive a lot of criticism unless they change not just the setting, not just the error, not just the problem on the game, but actually more so on even the main character itself. So if they do change the main character, I would definitely say follow me blind. But at this point of time, considering that Ubisoft have been doubling down, quadruple down, say that their game is AAA or 4A, hell, the game is going backwards, and I don't think like the game itself makes sense anymore. So personally, it may be good they push it back, because actually if you think about it, another reason why I also think that it may be to push back is just because the previous game Star Wars Outlaw, it kind of like be considered the huge flop on their end, considering that in their statement they actually also highlighted that, hey, we want the game to, like, we want Ubisoft stock to have a rebound, we want the people to think that Ubisoft is a great, just because of Star Wars Outlaw and AC Shadow. I think that's a little bit too far-fetched, and they already flopped on one game. If they're gonna release this game at November, it's gonna even hit the company so bad that it's gonna be like the most crazy thing happening. Maybe the downfall of not just the Square Inc. but Ubisoft. So personally, to me, I doubt the change of the date is gonna matter much, because it's kind of funny that when I was like reading Hero video, the reason why I kind of like was going to do the random check based on that was that because it was still scheduled, like they actually claimed that it was still scheduled to be released on November. But when they released this statement, I was like reading it through, I see quite a few people start commenting on it, and I was reading through the comments on Sun, and it wasn't very great. But I kind of like understand that from my end, it kind of like take me a while to think that, hey, is it really healing? If they do change it, it will be considered better. But the reason why I kind of like think it may not be as such is that they are still not admitting their fault. From how I look at it, like the whole damn statement is still that they are still not admitting their fault. They are still gonna go with it, and I highly doubt the game is gonna make any much difference, even if we got pushed back to a later date. Now, in contrast to this, is actually the Ubisoft is going to be on the drain at this point of time. The reason why I kind of like say it was kind of like down the drain initially is that because it's not just because it was like the game was the most hated, well, actually more so than one of the consultant was actually turned out to be a Sweet Baby Inc. employees. So when you think about it, right, if they do get a Sweet Baby Inc. to send a so-called spy or undercover employee to a game company and to kind of like destroy the game, or kind of like say, hey, I'm the consultant, I can give you the best what I know, or at this, which in my video I also mentioned that, hey, maybe the person who is a consultant may be a quack, or just make up a fake Japanese name and think that he's a Japanese along the line. So at this point of time, when it kind of like seems like having any game that has the dirty hand of Sweet Baby Inc., whether by the Sweet Baby Inc. company itself or as employees, from what I do know is that it is going to be bad, because a lot of game company will realize that any kind of like any tie to Sweet Baby Inc. is going to end them with a huge criticism, with a lot of people hating on them. And obviously one of the game companies so far, Square Enix, which is trying to cut tie with Sweet Baby Inc. In JT-san word fired, which I think is a little bit too harsh, because the thing is, right, from what I do know, kind of like more towards like they are cutting tie with Sweet Baby Inc. They are no longer their client, and based on JT-san is actually on the right path to healing, because considering that Sweet Baby Inc. is considered one of the most toxic company at this point of time, so getting tied with them may be a good point. Maybe Square Enix may be healing out, maybe their game is going to be back to what it was supposed to be along the line. Again, I still highly doubt so. Yeah, I actually really doubt so, because the thing is, right, like I mentioned, the reason why I still highly doubt so is that if Ubisoft was able to have a Japanese consultant, which actually turned out to be a Sweet Baby employees, how can we be so sure that Sweet Baby Inc. won't send anyone to Square Enix as employees, but not as Sweet Baby Inc. people? Maybe they can maybe Square Enix may head out hiring some people who is former Sweet Baby Inc. employees. And if you think about it, right, can we be so sure that Square Enix is going to drop DI? Because based on JT Sun's statement, he did say that Square Enix doesn't seem to be going to drop their DEI. They're still going to keep it. They're just going to just have their own DEI along the line. So when they are still going to have their own DEI, I kind of highly doubt they are going to change anyway. So that's the reason why I kind of like saying that I highly doubt so. Hopefully it will just me overthinking it, because if Square Enix actually become better, it will be very, very good. But seeing is believing, so based on maybe the next few years, see how Square Enix game can turn about. But if there is still a lot of like hint of DI that is going to destroy the game in, or giving a lot of gamers the bad fate, then I think yeah, Square Enix is still never changed at this point of time. It's just that a lot of people really thinking that hey, people dropping DI is changing for the better, but in fact I'm already talked about it already, and I don't think they are going to change the core DI. It's just basically they're just changing the name, they are just changing the people they hire, they are just changing the baseline, but they're still keeping the core. So at the end of the day, just changing the core is not going to change anything. It's just basically they just putting up a glass of water and just maybe put some ice in there, or maybe just give make it warm along the line, and just at the end of the day it's still freaking a glass of water. So no matter how you look at it, right, I don't think hiring Sweet Baby Inc. is a good thing, and trying to cut tie with them would be good for the long run. But on the other hand, hiring of people who is into this kind of thing, or maybe ex-employee from Sweet Baby Inc., yeah, I personally still kind of like find it very hard to believe that is really the gaming industry healing up, because it can be just another way or another form of DI that we all would know, and more so than when the DI or the Sweet Baby Inc. themselves is trying to do something that is so ridiculous, like terrify the dev to accept their offer along the line, or if they don't, they will just burn the industry to the ground along the line. Like, dude, they are just not just putting out death threat, but basically they are going all mafia at this point of time. So it's actually amazed that even government is not even doing anything to such a company. I mean, like, if a game company or people is receiving death threat and it's from a freaking company along the line, yeah, maybe someone should look into this sort of thing and say that, hey, who is these people from this Sweet Baby Inc. going around threatening people that I'm gonna act like a mafia and you guys are gonna listen. But hey, at the end of the day, this is just all my speculative thought, just a random chat. If you have your own thought, your own view, or your own take, like maybe do you think that the pushback of the Assassin's Creed schedule is it a good move by Ubisoft, or is it just kind of like trying to lay low along the line? Right in the comment section, we can discuss it further. As well as another topic, if you guys do think that Square Enix cutting tie with Sweet Baby Inc., is it a good thing or not? Or is it just kind of like I mentioned, maybe they will just hire their employee along the line, or maybe there's still other people, other kind of consultant that Square Enix may end up hiring along the line? Yeah, right in the comment section we can discuss further. But till then, if you do like this video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more random chat where I talk about stuff that sometimes makes sense, doesn't make sense, or totally random at the point of time. But the one thing that I can make sure that it's not random is I hope you guys have a nice day or night. Bye.